Now, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman have inked the India-Saudi Arabia Strategic Partnership Council Agreement. This after India's successful hosting of the G20. Both leaders have signed 47 memorandums of understanding and 8 agreements to further strengthen bilateral ties. Prime Minister Modi and MBS chaired the first leaders' meeting of this strategic partnership in Delhi, discussing quite a lot of issues, and bilateral cooperation, defence, trade and food security also dominated the agenda.
बदलते समय की जरूरतों के अनुसार हम हमारे संबंधों में नए और आधुनिक आयाम जोड़ रहे हैं। भारत के लिए सऊदी अरब हमारे सबसे महत्वपूर्ण स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनर में से एक है।
The Saudi Crown Prince is on a state visit to the country. He was given a ceremonial welcome at the Indian Presidential Palace earlier in the day. He attended the two-day G20 summit, where he, along with leaders of the United States and India, among others, announced plans to set up rail and port links between the Middle East and South Asia and eventually to Europe. And both India and Saudi have agreed to set up a joint task force to identify and channelize the $100 billion investments promised by Saudi Arabia to India. Trading in national currencies is also on the table. And to discuss this and more, we still have Ambassador Suri on this broadcast with us. Ambassador, let's talk about what was announced today between Saudi Arabia and India. There's a lot of investment being spoken about. Trading in national currencies also on the table. Help us set that into perspective.
Well, I think the trading in national currencies is important. We've kind of made a beginning with UAE already. Saudi Arabia, a lot of people don't realize, is our 4th largest trading partner after the US, UAE, China and UAE, and then it's Saudi Arabia. It's a $50 billion a year trade. Now, if we can start trading in rupee and in the Saudi riyal rather than in US dollars, particularly if we can get into oil being denominated in rupees and riyals rather than US dollars, then it saves money for the exporters and importers on both sides. Right now, each time when they do a transaction in US dollars or in euros, there's a margin involved in the exchange, right? You see the difference between the buying and selling rates and so on. If you trade in each other's currency, you avoid the premium that you are paying by trading in US dollars. So it helps both sides by some margin. I think that's one aspect. On investment, I just want to say that, the Saudis have promised, as the Emiratis had previously promised $75 billion, the Saudis have promised $100 billion. But remember, this is investment. It's not money coming into your bank. Investment needs proper, viable projects. It needs bankable projects which will yield a rate of return or a return on investment that is acceptable to the investors. So really, there's a lot of work to be done on the Indian side on this in connecting with the Saudis and offering them economically viable projects in which they can invest in key sectors of our infrastructure. And I think it's going to happen, but it's going to take some work to make it happen.
Right, Ambassador, that's a very valid point. And thanks yet again for joining us on WION World is One with all those insights.
Pleasure.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.